It wasn't supposed to explode like this, not this fast. 1 minute, it was just another race weekend. The next, the entire NASCAR garage was divided over one name, Cleetus McFarland, and it all started with Kyle Busch. No hesitation, no filter. He looked at Cleetus's limited racing background, a few ARCA starts, a short-lived Truck Series debut at Daytona that ended after just 5 laps, and dropped a line that instantly went viral. My 10-year-old son has more racing experience than Cleetus McFarland. That wasn't just criticism, that was a direct shot. And once that line hit the garage, everything changed. Suddenly, it wasn't just Busch anymore. Kyle Petty stepped in, saying influencers like Cleetus don't belong on the same track as professional drivers. Then Freddie Kraft, spotter for Bubba Wallace, jumped in online, pointing to Cleetus's Daytona crash as proof that he simply wasn't ready. And just like that, the narrative was locked. This guy doesn't belong here. Not debated, declared. Then came Rockingham, April 4th, a real test. Cleetus straps into the No. 33 car for Richard Childress Racing, led by Richard Childress, one of the most respected names in the sport. This wasn't a joke anymore. This was a real opportunity, the kind drivers spend their entire careers chasing. All eyes were on him, and the result? 35th in qualifying. A speeding penalty in Stage 3. Multiple mistakes. Finished 32nd, 6 laps down. On paper, it looked like the critics were right. Even during the broadcast, Kyle Petty joked about it. Freddie Kraft doubled down, pointing out risky moves early in the race. And then came the decision. No Talladega. Not yet. At that point, it felt like the story was over. Critics proven right. Experiment failed. Move on. But then, everything flipped. Because Richard Childress spoke, and he didn't hold back. He called out the entire situation, the criticism, the mockery, the pile-on, and said it had gone too far. A little excessive. Coming from him, that's not just an opinion, that's a statement. This is a man who built champions. A man who worked with Dale Earnhardt. When he talks, people listen. And then he reminded everyone of something simple. Cleetus is a rookie, not a veteran, not polished, a rookie learning in real time. But then he said something that changed the entire conversation. This isn't just about skill, it's about jealousy. That word hit hard. Because, according to Childress, the backlash isn't only about safety or experience, it's about attention. One YouTuber walks into NASCAR and instantly gets more eyes, more buzz, more conversation than drivers who've been grinding for years. And the numbers back it up. That Rockingham race? Ratings up 12%. Viewership up 11%. That's not hype, that's reality. Because Cleetus isn't just a driver, he's a platform. Millions of YouTube subscribers. A massive fan base that follows everything he does. And as Childress saw early on, even if a small percentage of those fans start watching NASCAR, that's huge. New fans, younger fans, new energy. Exactly what the sport has been trying to find. So now the question isn't just, does Cleetus belong? It becomes, can NASCAR afford to ignore him? And Cleetus? He didn't back down. At the peak of the criticism, he fired back with one simple truth. If Richard Childress offered any of those drivers a ride, they'd take it instantly. And deep down, everyone knows that's true. Now the garage is split. On one side, the purists. Drivers who believe you earn your place the hard way. On the other reality, attention, growth, new fans entering the sport. And right in the middle of it all, Cleetus McFarland. Then there's a different voice. A calmer one, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He didn't ignore the mistakes. He didn't pretend Cleetus was perfect. But he said something that changed the tone. What he did was phenomenal. Not perfect, not polished, phenomenal. Because stepping into that environment under pressure, under criticism, with everyone expecting failure and still showing up, that matters. And here's the reality no one can ignore. That race mattered. Not Daytona, not Talladega, a regular Rockingham race turned into must-watch TV. Because of one name. So now the real question is, what happens next? What happens when Cleetus gets approved for bigger tracks? What happens when he lines up at Daytona? Because this isn't just racing anymore, it's business. NASCAR needs fans, needs growth, needs attention. And whether people like it or not, Cleetus is bringing it. Yes, the critics have a point. Experience matters. Mistakes at high-speed tracks can be dangerous. And NASCAR holding him back from Talladega, that was the right call. But there's a difference between he needs more experience and he doesn't belong here. That's the line Richard Childress is defending. Because NASCAR has always evolved. New drivers, new eras, new audiences. This is just the next version of that change. Only this time, it's happening faster, louder, and with millions already watching. And maybe that's what really scares people. Because in today's world, attention is power. And right now, Cleetus McFarland has a lot of it. So this isn't over. More races are coming. More chances, more pressure. And if the numbers keep rising every time he races, the loudest critics might find themselves in a very uncomfortable position. Because one thing is already clear. Cleetus McFarland isn't going anywhere. And now NASCAR has a choice. Fight the change, or accept that the future is already here.